Hi, I'm the Dissatisfied Gamer, and I just wanted to make a few comments on Warhammer books. We'll start it off with the Ultramarines. Um, the first book in this three-book, yeah, it's 3 books in one. They call it an omnibus. Kind of a stupid idea in my opinion, but whatever. It's the only passable book, in my opinion, because the grammar errors in the other 2 are so bad that I barely finished it. I mean, I wish I could just page to an example, but it's really not worth my time to search for them. But there are enough of them that it just gets to the point where I'd stop and have to reread the same sentence 3 or 4 times. And, Graham McNeil, or whatever this guy's name is, that name needs to be sent back to 3rd grade English, because he obviously never completed it, or any English after that. Next we have... Oh, there it is. We have the Soul Drinkers Omnibus by Ben Counter. I don't know if you can read that. It's kind of a shitty color for the cover. And the Soul Drinkers. But before I talk about the Soul Drinkers Omnibus, I want to talk about the Grey Knights. It is the biggest scalding piece of crap I have ever read. If I could go back in time and stop myself from reading that book at the cost of my whole family's life, I would. It is that bad. The first book in the series, it's okay. I would never read it again. Beyond that, it is awful. I mean, I hated every minute of it, but I did manage to finish it. Which says a lot, I guess, since there are quite a few Warhammer books I have not been able to finish, such as The Dark Apostle, which I do not recommend to anyone ever attempting to read. But with the Soul Drinkers thus far, it has been... I can't say it's been bad, it's not been too good, it's been kind of mediocre, I guess, but it's just the first book, which tends to be the one book that's actually passable. And then beyond that, it just turns into a fuckfest of grammar mistakes and spelling errors, which, by the way, Ben Counter and Graham McNeil, if you are happening to be watching this, I recommend you find a better editor, because your editor fails in every single way. But on a brighter note, here we have good writers like Dan Abnett, which I own 2 of his omnibuses for the Gaunt's Ghosts. And to be frank, I read one of Dan Abnett's books, 250 pages or so, in less than a day. I read it in like 4 hours. That's how interesting, and he captivated me and whatever, kept my interest in the story, and I didn't get bored or anything. And then we have another good set of books, the Space Wolves Omnibuses by William King and Lee Leitner, who Lee Leitner is actually 2 guys that use that as the writer name or whatever. And these are both fairly good books. I finished them in about a week each. And there are several other books, like the Blood Angels Omnibus, which is great. I recommend people read that one, along with the Gaunt's Ghosts and the Space Wolves Omnibuses. They're all pretty good books. I recommend you stay away from Ben Counter. He is a horrible, horrible writer. And Graham McNeil, I've only read the omnibus for the Ultramarines. One of the books was passable, the other 2 not so much, but, it might have just been an off book, I don't know. But that's about all I have to say on the matter. I look forward to reading other Warhammer books, and I will get reviews up for them as soon as I can. I do have a couple movie reviews I suppose I could do as well while I'm here. Just let me pull up my information. Okay, well, the first movie is Orphan. And it seemed to me like they were going for a scary thriller movie. Well, with the 35-year-old dwarf psycho pretending to be an innocent 9-year-old girl after inexplicably escaping a psycho ward somewhere in Eastern Europe. To be honest, I didn't find it so much scary as morbidly disturbing that anyone could come up with a story like this. Then again, parenthood has always been something I have feared, so maybe I am just a poor example, since I sympathize with the mother from the very first odd things that Esther did. And though I have to say, if I was in the mother's shoes, that I think I would have handled the situation a little more logically, instead of freaking out the way she did and playing right into Eskler's trap. Overall, the movie wasn't bad, though for some reason other or another, I found Eskler to be sort of cute in a fucked up sort of way. Even for all her psycho tendencies, I can understand that she's just looking for love, though doing it in a fairly odd way. Then again, what other way is there when you look like a 9-year-old girl? On the other hand, if there are women like that out there, I think they should be putting their powers to good use, helping cops catch all them damn pedos making the internet an unsafe place for children and teens. Though, since I doubt that such a thing actually exists, to make someone appear that much younger than what they really are without affecting their mental state as well, I doubt that we will ever see such a thing happen, which is unfortunate since our boys and girls in blue can use all the help they can get as far as internet perverts go, which, on the subject of that line, that sentence made no sense. Just where do we... What? I assume it must be an old one since the days cops wear uniform, since these days the cops wear uniforms of various colors such as green, or dark green, brown, dark blue, black, and white. But back to the subject matter overall, this isn't a great movie, and to be honest, it actually made me not want to be a parent even more than before. So for all of you people on the fence about that sort of thing, I absolutely do not recommend this movie. But if I was to rate it, I guess it'd be about a 6 out of 10, though I will admit the plot did have a few twists in it, though not enough to make me want to see it again. That's it for my review of Orphan. And I just gotta check how much time I have. Okay, I have 3 minutes to do my review of Jennifer's Body. Well, the idea of a movie where you actually get to see something of that nice body Megan Fox taunts all guys with is a great thing, though it only remains great if the idea comes to fruition. Can't speak today. Which, in this movie, it does not. The plot is a clusterfuck of not good ideas, and it goes something like this. This nobody band goes to play in a bar in a small backwoods town where there's a strange waterfall that flows into a hole in the ground but doesn't seem to come out anywhere. And it's called Devil's Falls or something like that. Anyways, at some point the movie lead singer calls the town Devil's Lake or something like that. So it's safe to assume that he had at one point been to North Dakota or northern Minnesota where there is such a lake. Anyways, the reason for them going to this nobody town is to find a virgin to sacrifice to Satan so their nobody band can make it big. And in comes Jennifer, a suddenly beautiful young lady who the lead singer believes to be a tease that hasn't lost her virginity. Unfortunately, such is not the case, so their sacrifice goes horribly wrong and Jennifer becomes a succubus. She ends up eating a foreign exchange student who had been at the bar before it mysteriously burned down. After she kills and eats one of the biggest guys in school and another emo kid after that, before going after the other main character's boyfriend before he gets to the dance. The other main character is Jennifer's best friend, and she's the sort of nerdy girl that the really hot girls will hang out with to make themselves look better. So after all these strange murders, she looks into the occult to try and find the answer to these mysterious things that have been happening ever since Jennifer and the band drove off in the band's truck after the bar burned down. She finds out that Jennifer has become a succubus, and in order to kill a succubus, you have to stab her through the heart, which, after much delay and her boyfriend getting killed, she manages to do, at which point Jennifer's mom walks in, seeing her daughter's corpse on the ground, bleeding with a knife stuck out of her chest. She freaks out, obviously. After that, Jennifer's best friend, whose name eludes me, is sent to a mental institution. They failed to inspect her upon her arrival and didn't notice the huge bite mark on her shoulder from where Jennifer bit her during their struggle, which leads to her escape due to a certain part of Jennifer's demonic powers transferring over to her. After she escapes and decides to hunt down the band that started this all and kill them. Overall, this movie is about the same as Orphan, 6 out of 10. It's not really worth the watch, but if you have the spare time, go ahead. Do not expect to see any tit, you won't get to. It's fairly gay about it, but you do get to see a fairly interesting scene where she makes out with another girl. Well, that's all the time I have now, for now, so until next time.